Good morning. I'm going to quickly take my tent down and we'll get on our way. It was pretty cold out last night and there's steam coming out of the exhaust pipe. Anyways, this is my campsite on beautiful Cranberry Lake. I should have come down and had a look. I did take some video last night. Few people on the campsite. Not very many. Hey, there's somebody else with a tent. I thought I was the only nutcase here with a tent at 5 degrees last night. Anyways, my Coleman, which my buddy Bob helped me with, my Coleman sleeping bag. I've never camped before. My Coleman sleeping bag is good to -5, so I had my sweater on and my pants on and my socks on, and I got into that thing. I was frozen. Then all of a sudden I took the socks off, and then I took my track pants off, and then the sweater was too much. Even at 5 degrees, that thing's so warm. Here we go. So this is the way out. Didn't see any bears last night, but certainly got lots of warning. There's another camper up there. Where do we go here? Straight through. We're on our way to Lake Placid this morning, home of the 1980 Winter Olympics and a very special hockey game. Let me just get through this stop sign safely. The game was referred to as the Miracle on Ice, and they even made a movie out of it in 2004. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the game, Russia had won the Olympic hockey for 5 out of the last 6 Olympics. They'd turned up to win again in 1980 with a serious team of mostly professionals. The United States team was predominantly amateurs. I'll tell you more about that when we arrive, but for now let me continue a little bit more of my story. I saw a bunch of specialists after the initial diagnosis of my feet. They wrote it off as a similar problem to ballet dancers. They'd bash their toes against the end of their ballet shoes over and over when on their tiptoes. Seemingly, if you continue to damage a part of the human body like ballet dancers do, it eventually turns into arthritis. So this is what they thought the problem was with my feet. But it didn't hold me back much at the time. In fact, my tennis game was developing nicely in my late teens. I was invited to play the qualifying for the Players International Tennis Tournament in Toronto at the last minute. That was the name of the Canadian Open back then. Canada always calls our ATP tournament by the name of the title sponsor. It was the Rogers Cup, and today it's the National Bank Open. It's the Toronto tournament that Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal would play, just to clarify. I was really only invited because I was still in the city. You see, I was always around the top of the second tier of junior tennis players in Canada. The tournament back then was played too close to the US Open Grand Slam, so all the top players in the world would use it as a warm-up and miraculously lose in the first or second round every year and go to New York as soon as possible. Fortunately for me, it was similar for the top-level juniors in Canada. They were all gone playing a warm-up to the US Open Juniors in Indianapolis. I was never good enough for that trip, but because I was here, I snuck in at the last minute to a wild card spot in the Players International qualifying. Or maybe it was the pre-qualifying. The latter sounds better. I really can't remember exactly. As you can imagine, it didn't really go that well, to say the least, but I was in the same tournament with the best tennis players in the world. Sort of. I finished that year ranked in the top 15 Ontario Open men's and very similar in Canada as an under-18 junior. The efforts helped me secure a full scholarship to Florida State University. I never went. At 19 years old, there was no way I could play the grueling schedule of a college athlete with the level of arthritis I had developed in my toes by then. I tell everyone that I took a year off to save money for flights and such, during which I discovered more about bars and women and never looked back, which is all true. Or that I was a bit of a mummy's boy and there's no way I could leave home and face the world all by myself at 19, which is probably true too. It all depends on who I'm talking with and where the conversation's going. I think that was the first time I had to make a decision that factored in the disease. A factor that other people would not have to take into account in their lives. I had no idea it would become a daily routine at the time. So here we are in Lake Placid. Those buildings are the site of the miracle on ice. Sports Illustrated selected this game as the #1 sporting moment of the 20th century.
11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Wow, must have been quite something being at that game. Should we go for a drive down Main Street in Lake Placid? I think so. I'm honestly dreading telling you the next part of my story. It's pretty ugly. It broke my life into 2 distinct parts before and after. This would become a theme in my life with arthritis. Quick drive and I'll tell you about the first one.
Bubble tea, the Blue House, bookstore, Starbucks. Might go in there. There. Quantum Apparel. Imagine these are all the big ski stores getting set up and ready for the season. Saw a 30% off sale there. Buddy's having trouble turning into his own lane. Look at the lake. Right downtown. Oh, there's somebody doing what Sue and I want to do. Drive in, buy a camper and see all of North America. Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Whoops, it is.
Well, there you go. A quick drive through Lake Placid, the middle of September 2023. With an Olympic memory back in 1980, the miracle on ice for all you hockey and Olympic highlight fans. I'm going to close out this video as promised with the next chapter in my own arthritic story, going back to that fateful night I spoke of in 1994. I won't be drawing your attention to my beginner level editing skills again in the future, but I'm going to do it one last time here. So let's give it a shot. Here it goes. This time we'll slow the speed of the video down to 80% as well. Tone down the color to about 20% and bring up the somber music. I'll do my best to switch to a monotone voice for this terrifying event that changed my life forever. When I was 30 years old, arthritis hit me like a ton of bricks. There were no early indicators of any new trouble. My symptoms had been fairly stable for years. Recently married, bought a new home, and just changed jobs. They say stress can be a major factor in arthritis, and these are some of the most stressful parts of most young people's lives. Maybe all that in just a few months was way too much for my condition, because I woke up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't move a single joint in my body. The pain was mind-numbing. It was like twisting your ankle really, really badly. You eventually try to get up and walk on it, but your body won't have anything to do with it. Putting any weight on it radiates intense pain, and your muscle strength seems to be reduced to 0 in that area. Your knee buckles to compensate, and you're forced to catch yourself with your good leg. It was exactly like that, but in every joint in my body. Easily the scariest moment of my entire life. Slowly rolling onto my side, I grit my teeth and grimaced with pain and willed myself to a seating position. An hour had passed by the time I got dressed. I crawled most of the way out of the condo and ultimately managed to get to the car and off to the emergency for help. In my mind, I'd be dead or paralyzed by sunrise. Could I have poisoned myself somehow? A million thoughts were running through my mind. Emergency's the solution. You always leave the emergency on the mend to some degree. Not this time. Multiple tests for hours, followed by waiting to see the doctor. He arrived with the bad news. There's nothing new wrong with you. Based on your history, this is how severe arthritis can be triggered in some individuals. We can't do anything more than suggest Tylenol for you here. Go back home, go to bed. You need to see a rheumatologist.
Thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. But before you go, please consider this. If you like my video and subscribe to my channel, you'll be telling YouTube that it's a great idea to send these videos to others with chronic diseases. And hopefully we can show that with a little bit of effort, maybe they can live a life every bit as good as everyone else too. Keep watching my videos and you'll see what's possible. And you can feel good about yourself too, because if you like, subscribe, and share my videos, we'll be helping others too, not just me. Thanks again for watching. Bye.